So we had an opportunity to go to a Code M movie. You know, we do movie premieres and everything, and I hadn't left the house yet. And so where I was living at the time, you know, there were like 4 steps to get down to the car. And so it was my first time trying to get down the steps. And man, when I tell you, we scratched and clawed our way down these 4 steps to the point to where I almost fell. My 20-year-old daughter had to catch me. And, you know, when we finally got into the car, man, and I sat down in the passenger seat, I just cried like a baby, and she hugged me. And we were sitting there, you know, just boo-hooing together, bro. And it's like, there has to be a purpose behind this, Tony. Like, I'm going through something I've never gone through. And there are people out here who don't have the support that I have, who don't have the daughters and the sons and the brothers and lady and cousins and the fraternity brothers and the business partner. And, you know, dude, my circle came through. Bro, my circle came through.
We'll discuss race and how it plays a factor and how we didn't even talk about this topic because we were afraid.
A Black Executive Perspective.
BEP is on fire. Our audience is growing fast and the impact is real. Now is the time for your brand to grow with us and reach a highly engaged, influential community with real spending power. Don't miss this moment. Email us today at media@TonyTidbit.com. Let's make it happen and put you and your brand in front of the people that matter. We are coming to you live from the BEP studio for another thought-provoking episode of a Black Executive Perspective podcast, a safe space where we discuss all matters regarding race, culture, and those uncomfortable topics people tend to avoid. I'm your host, Tony Tidbit. So before we get started on this very important topic, I want to remind everyone to check out our partners at Code M Magazine, whose mission is to save the Black family by first saving the Black man. So check them out at codemmagazine.com. That is codemmagazine.com. So today, speaking of Code M, we have Brad Boland, president of Code M Magazine, to share his powerful journey of surviving a life-threatening bacterial infection that took his right foot, but not his purpose. From survival to advocacy, Brad's story redefines resilience, gratitude, and what it truly means to live with a second chance. For those of you who are new to a Black Executive Perspective podcast, Brad Boland has been a contributor on our show many a times. We are partners. But let me just tell you his background. So Brad Boland is president of Code M Magazine, a leading digital and print publication dedicated to amplifying stories that inspire, inform, and empower men of color. With a career spanning media, business development, and community leadership, Brad has built a reputation for using storytelling as a catalyst for change. I've been waiting for a while to say this, my brother. Brad Boland, welcome back to a Black Executive Perspective podcast.
Thanks for having me back, Tony. Missed you, man. You and Chris, and so I am happy to be back.
Well, buddy, more importantly, we missed you. And I know Chris couldn't make this show today. He had a conflict and he really wanted to be here. So he sends his love and thoughts and prayers. But more importantly, buddy, we are glad, euphoric that you are back. For the time frame that you were dealing with what you're going to talk about today, we kept you in our hearts and prayers. We told our audience to pray for you. So, you know, God works, prayer works. And here you are today, my brother. So, hey, before we get into the deep stuff, just tell everybody a little bit where you currently reside. Just remind the audience where you're living at and a little bit about your family.
Yeah, I'm in Northeast Ohio, suburbs of Cleveland. And it's a beautiful day here, man. We've had an amazing fall. And it's just poignant that, you know, everything is wonderful at the same time, bro. So you're right. God is good. And I heard the prayers, felt the love from the team and, you know, everybody who kind of knew what was going on. And so very blessed, bro. And, you know, Brad 2.0 is ready to go.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love, more importantly, I love that you're back, and I love the mindset as well, to
yeah,
Brad 2.0. But listen, though, bro, let's be fair, though, right? Obviously, and you're going to dive into it. Um, this was a major point in your life, right? And
yeah.
you know, this was something that obviously you didn't expect. It came on sudden, which you're going to dive into. But the
Mhm.
question I have, man, because, I can imagine if what you're about to share with the audience, if it happened to me, I don't know if I really would want to come on and talk about it, right? So I want to ask you, why did you want to come on BEP to share this story?
So, I've been doing a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out first why this happened to me. And then after you realize there's nothing you can do about it happening to you, what am I supposed to do with this? Right. So, when you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, talking to God and you're trying to figure out, why me? Is this punishment? Is this karma? What is this? Sometimes it's an opportunity. It's all independent on how you look at it. And I think what he wants me to do is amplify and expose how bacteria infections work, how critical it is that we take a look and listen to our bodies. And then the last thing is, man, is that there are 155,000 people that have amputations in the United States annually. And so I feel like I'm a vessel to speak life into that. And then, what can we do to help those who are afflicted with sudden altering life amputations, and what happens to you afterwards? Because it's literally a 180 from what you're used to, bro. And you're literally starting over when something like this happens. And so this is important for other people to know you're not alone, and you can survive and absolutely thrive through it. So that's the goal.
My brother, well, look, um, thank you for being so unselfish. I know this is hard. I can imagine in the late nights that you just got finished talking about. So I'm so glad that you decided to use this as an opportunity to share with others, to help others, bro. And to be fair, I am not surprised because that is who Brad Bowling is. So you ready to talk about it, my boy?
I am finally, when we first talked, I was like, no, Tony, I don't want to do this. Can we talk about baseball? You was like, you was like, no, we gonna talk. And I'm like, okay, so all right, let me think about it. So no, I've done a lot of soul searching, man. I've talked to a lot of people. And again, I've been trying to figure out, what do I do with this, right? I for a while didn't know what to do, with my new situation. But I'm going to use it to educate, to help others. We're going to start a nonprofit where we um, create, packages for people, because once you have an amputation, life changes so much, man. There has to be some type of an assistance. So I want to create some kind of starter pack for people, bro, that they can use to kind of survive the short outcome that's happened to them. So
Okay, buddy. All right. So you ready to talk about it?
I'm ready, bro. Let's do this.
All right, man. Let's talk about it. So look, you spoke a little bit of some of the pieces that has happened, but let's back up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because even to be fair, I don't know everything,
Right.
right? I know
Right.
what was told to me, and you've been on the road to recovery. So you
Hmm.
had a near-death experience with a bacterial infection, and obviously there's an emotional um, aftermath. But take us back, man, to the moment you realize, because look, you a big dude, you
Hmm.
6'3", 6'4". You've always been healthy. You always messing with me about the golf game. I'm seeing
Yeah.
you on
Right.
social media about
Right.
you. So you've always been active. So go back to the time frame when you realized that there was something seriously wrong.
It's time to rethink your protein. AgriLab's protein bars are crafted with high-quality protein, double the leucine, and enriched branched-chain amino acids, essential for optimal muscle recovery. Finally, a protein bar that works as hard as you do. So visit agrilabs.com and use the code BEP to get 20% off. That's agrilabs.com, promo code BEP.
So it started off what I thought was a cold. Uh, I had a couple people around me that had colds, and their colds were like taking a couple weeks, 3 weeks to kind of get better. And I just figured, okay, well, I have a cold. So I kind of was coughing and really didn't think of it anything other than a cold. So a week goes by, and the cough gets worse. And so, I'm like, okay, well, I travel a lot and I'm very busy. So once the magazine came out that next month, I said, I'm gonna take the first weekend of the month. I'm just gonna sleep. I'm just gonna sleep. I'm gonna just rest. I'm not gonna move. Canceled everything that weekend. I'm gonna sleep it off because maybe my body just needs rest. So I did that and I felt better. Then after feeling better, I started to go back down. I lost my appetite. I could no longer sleep. I couldn't keep food down. By the end of the second week, I went to the doctor and they said, hey, you have a bacterial infection. So they gave me an oral antibiotic and sent me home and said, hey, take this and then, let me know how you feel after a week. But by that Wednesday, I couldn't move, man. I could not do anything. I went to Walmart to grab a couple items. And when I got back to the car, I was so fatigued that it took me 20 minutes to even start the car to come home. I was so tired. By that night, my body I was just in agony. And Thursday I woke up, my foot was swollen, my whole right side of my body was in pain. Then I went back to the doctor that Friday because I was like, I'm not getting better. And they said, oh my God, you have to go straight to the ER because you're not getting better. So they literally called the ER and said, listen, we're sending somebody over there and he is to not wait in the lobby. So when I got to the ER, they had the doors open. They rushed me right in. They did a whole bunch of x-rays and CAT scans and CTs or, all of the stuff that they did. And, I started off with a low level doctor. He left the room. He came back. A bigger doctor came. He left, 5 doctors came in the room. And they were like, Mr. Bowling, you're the most important person in the hospital right now. If we don't do something, we could lose you. And I'm sitting here going, what the hell are you talking about?
From a cold, right?
Well,
From a
I knew
cold
I
all the
had
way to this level.
Yeah, I knew I had a bacterial infection.
Well,
But
what I'm saying is, I know they told you that, but it started from a cold all
yes,
the way to now they're saying you're
yes,
the most important person in the hospital because we
yes,
may lose you.
correct, bro. And so I think, and I'm gonna make the numbers up because I don't remember, but I got to the ER about 9:30. They told me I was gonna be in the operating room by 11 o'clock. So I'm calling people, I'm calling the kids, I'm calling family, and I'm telling them, hey, this is what's going on. And so people start rushing to the hospital. And by the time my brother got there, as my brother showed up to the ER, they were wheeling me into the OR because they were saying that I had so much infection in my body that it was costing me my right foot. And so they were trying to figure out ways to stop the infection. So I come out of OR, and then that night, they're telling me, hey, you're still not getting any better. And we don't know what the bacterial infection is. We can't figure out what it is. So they called the CDC. So the CDC comes to my room. They get involved and they go, hey, Mr. Bowling, we're taking over your case because they can't identify what the bacterial is. We're going to change your antibiotics and we're trying to figure out what this is. And so it was crazy, man. I mean, like when I tell you June 13th was, the scariest day of my life because I went from not understanding what was going on till, you know, uh, 15 doctors running around me trying to figure out what to do to save me. And they said if I had to wait until Sunday to come in, I wouldn't have made it.
Buddy, let me ask you this, man. So number one, that was, 4 months ago.
It
Okay.
was. Right.
And again, you went from a cold, thinking I have a cold, finding out I have an infection, giving you antibiotics, and then felt good for a minute, but didn't get better. And then now you're going into the hospital and they're saying that you may not make it. And so
Right.
when they first rolled you in and did the operation, what did they operate on?
So my right foot was swollen, and I had so the infection was everywhere in my body. But luckily, it didn't enter into my bloodstream because apparently I was supposed to be intubated, organs shut down, the way the infection was fighting my body. But of course, in hindsight, as they explain everything to you, they tell you, hey, this is where you were lucky. This is where you weren't lucky. This is what we had to do to save you. Blah, 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 blah. So the infection was all the way up past my knee and my right leg. And so, Tony, what they did was they said, you're going to lose all the way up to your thigh. We're gonna have to,
So hold on, stop a second. So stop a second. I just want to back up because I want to make sure I'm clear here. Mm-hmm. So is this before you went in for the operation, or this is after you? This is before. Bro. Okay, this is before. This is before. This is okay, before. So what was when they said that? Okay, that hey, this has gotten so bad where you may lose all the way up to your right thigh. Right. What was your mindset? What? Tell us a little bit about mentally where you were at that time.
Bro, I was in shock. Okay, I was in shock because I had, again, I did not know the gravity of my situation. They're kind of talking around you. They're not talking to you, right? So you got 5 doctors in the office and they're talking to each other. This is what we need to do. This is what we had to do. And so, you're there, but you're not there. You're not an active participant in your own healthcare. Now, I'm not blaming anybody because I don't know if they had time to talk to me, bro. I don't know if they really had time to break it down for me, where then I would make decisions. I think they kind of took the decision-making out of my hand and said, listen, I'm sure he wants to live and we're just going to go ahead and do whatever we have to do to help this man live. And so they were making decisions to affect that. Right. And so I'm laying there, with a blanket on me and I got an IV in my arm and I'm sitting there, what? And then, Tony, everything was happening so fast. I didn't have a chance to digest what was going on because I was being wheeled in and out of x-ray. Then I was wheeled in and out of something else. And so when they told me they were going to cut up to my thigh, they said, well, we're going to do one more test. We're going to roll you and we're going to do a CT scan. Okay. So when they took me in to do the CT scan, they took the CT of my body and they wheeled me from CT straight to the OR. So I'm sitting here thinking I'm about to be put under. When I wake up, I'm not going to have a right leg at all. What ended up happening is, I guess in the CT, they saw the infection and felt like what we're going to do is we're just cut as low as we can and then hope we can use antibiotics to get the infection out of his body before we cut any further. So somebody had the foresight to say, hey, what can we do to save as much of his leg as possible? Because, bro, when I looked down at my leg as they started to kind of tell me what was going on, it was red, which I didn't even notice until I was there, that my entire right leg was red and swollen. It was double the size it was supposed to be. When I finally got to the ER, how they cutting and taking off clothes, and I'm looking down and I'm like, what the heck, because they're showing you. And I'm like, I didn't even notice all of this. So I go to the ER.
Why the right leg? Why the right leg versus the left leg or the arm?
I don't know.
Why was it? So did they ever say anything about that? Was there anything happening in your body that made one area more weaker than the other?
So they told me I had a cut, unbeknownst to me, on my right foot. I went to the sauna to sweat out the cold. So I went and got in the hot tub at the Y. I got into the sauna because I told everybody, I'm like, I'm just going to sweat it out. I worked out, I slept. Right. I'm just doing everything that you do. I'm an athlete, bro. So typically when I have a cold, if I go running, I sweat it out. I'm cool. I'm healed in 24, 48 hours. So they're like, whatever cut or blemish or scrape you had on you, the infection was in my lungs. It was in my body, but it was really, it was taking over my right extremities. So my right leg.
And that's because you had a cut. You said you had a cut on your foot or something of that nature, or what?
Something of that nature, where I had a cut on my foot. So it must have exacerbated the situation with whatever cut I had on me, which unbeknownst to me, I don't know.
Wow.
So anyway, I come out of OR, and of course, I'm not getting better. I'm not getting better. So the next day, they all come in a room.
Wait a minute, hold on. Stop. So just so I'm clear, they've already taken your leg,
My foot.
your foot, and you said you
Yes.
still come out and you still not getting better.
I come out of OR. The next day, I still continue to decline. And I'm gonna tell you, when I woke up that
Wow.
night after the first surgery, bro, I felt my leg, and I was like, "Oh my God, I got my knee. I still got my thigh. What the hell?" But of course, it's 11, 12 o'clock at night. There's no doctors around. So the next morning when they came in, they told me, well, what we decided to do, because we looked at the CT scan, they drew a line on my leg, Tony. And she said, "You're still getting worse. If the infection goes above this line on your leg, we're going to have to cut up past that point above the infection. If we can get the right antibiotics, we're going to let to see if we can cure you. And then that will tell us where we need to cut next." So the next 5 days are going to be critical. And I just had to kind of like lay there and do the antibiotic thing and wait and wait and wait. And that's when the CDC came and got involved. And whatever they found it. They figured out what it was, and they changed the antibiotics. And then the third day, I started to get better.
Hold your thought real fast, because, bro, number one, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I just, because I can't imagine. Well, look, at the end of the day, it's easy to sit back and be, well, look, you still got your life and this and that and the whole 9 yards, right? But you're laying in the bed and they already cut your foot off.
Bro.
Right. Number one, they told you. And then, so you like, I can just imagine, just in my mind, and then I'm going to lose my foot. First, I'm going to lose my thigh all the way down. But okay, they just cut the foot. Then they come back and say, you still ain't getting better. Right. And now we're going to have to, so buddy, and again, just when they were telling you that, what was going through your mind, if anything?
If you like what you hear and want to join us on this journey of making uncomfortable conversations comfortable, please subscribe to a Black Executive Perspective podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hit subscribe now to stay connected for more episodes that challenge, inspire, and lead the change.
Well, let me just tell you, the first 2 days in the hospital, I really don't remember anything. I was so drugged up and out of it that my brother took off work. He came to the hospital at 6 o'clock in the morning every day. They talked to him. He waited until I was kind of back, and then he started to explain things to me, because I was out of it, Tony. For the first 2 days, I was out of it. I don't remember much of the first 2 days. I remember little pieces. But then as my family, because my daughter was there, everybody came in and just kind of, was in the room, and they took turns staying. And it was kind of like, calling all guard. Everybody just kind of, hey, you take this time, you take this time, you take this time. My brother kind of took over managing the mental aspect of it. Like, what does he have? What's going on? What's next? What are we doing? What is he taking? What are you giving him? And then as I started to become coherent, he would explain to me. And then as the doctors would come in, bro, I remember the guy, when the guys from the CDC came in, we were all looking like, what are you talking about, CDC? It took a minute to really figure out why the CDC was even in there, because they come in so casual. Hey, Mr. Bowling, we don't know what's killing you. We're going to take it over. When we figure it out, we'll let you know. That's kind of how it was. You know what I'm saying?
So it's no sense of urgency. It's just a regular day in the park.
Yeah. I'm watching, bro. I'm sitting there watching Starsky and Hutch on the TV. They just kind of, can you pause that for a minute? We just want to talk to you for 5 minutes. Right? Okay, you can go.
No. Can you look? I just want this is gonna be a serious conversation. None of that.
No, man. You know what I'm like, what did he just say? You know what I'm saying? And so it's funny, and I'm not saying it's funny, but it's interesting, because while you're going through it, you don't know the gravity I don't think I understood the gravity of how serious my situation was until I got out the hospital. Because when you're in it, bro, I was trying to, like physical therapy was in my room. Mr. Bowling, we'd like for you to walk today. And like, are you kidding me? I just had, my leg cut off. I'm sitting here with an infection. I'm hooked to about 30 machines. They take your blood every 2 hours. They wake you up, take your vitals. I mean, you don't get sleep in a hospital. So, I'm just trying to adjust to that. I've never been in a hospital before, Tony. I've never been in a hospital before. So I'm just trying to survive the whole experience of being in the hospital and being woken up at 3 o'clock. Mr. Bowling, I need to check your, so for me, it's all new, bro. All new. And I'm crying every 5 minutes, and family and, everybody's in shock. We're all in shock.
Buddy, I can imagine. I'm in shock hearing it, right? And this is 4 months later. Here's the thing. Let me play something real quick, because here's the thing. I want to get your thoughts on this, because what happened to you is something that has been happening, and a lot of us are not educated on it. So let me get your thoughts after I play this quick little clip.
Sure.
MRSA is a type of bacteria that many antibiotics do not work on. It often causes skin infections, but it can also cause serious illnesses that are hard to treat. And Wynn explains in today's Medical Minutes.
Methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, or MRSA, is a serious bacterial infection that can survive against antibiotics commonly used for staph infections. In the U.S., MRSA is responsible for 70,000 severe infections and 9,000 deaths per year, according to the CDC. Skin infections from MRSA are common, with 2 in every 100 people being a carrier of the bacteria.
So prior to that, did you know anything about this, about MRSA and all that type of stuff, my friend?
No, prior to this, I was oblivious to it because, as friends and family would call me and be like, where were you? Were you in Cambodia? Were you drinking toilet water? Did you lick a banister? How did you get this? And I'm like, I don't know. And the first thing the guy from the CDC said, he said, Mr. Bowling, do not worry about where this came from. We're going to fix it. We're going to find it. And then we want you to go back to your normal life. Do not put any energy into wondering where this came from. But I'm going to tell you, Tony, as it happened to me, I started to pay attention to, hey, it's hot outside, bacteria's in the water. Then in New York, I guess some AC unit put out bacteria. 5 people died in the Bronx, or I think Brooklyn. As soon as I got out the hospital from a bacterial infection it was airborne. And then I'm reading, the coastal states and warm weather and stagnant water bacteria develops. I'm starting to read all of this stuff because now I'm hypersensitive to it. Right. And so,
buddy, and not only that, the antibiotics don't work. And you saw that firsthand.
Right.
All right. On some strains, it doesn't work. Right. So the doctor, you went to the doctor and they were like, hey, take this antibiotic. And typically we all go through that. Right. We go to the doctor. They say, oh, you got some type of infection, viral infection, whatever. They give us some antibiotics and we expect in a couple of days we take it, we'll feel a lot better. But when it comes to MRSA infections, that doesn't happen. Some of the antibiotics don't work on.
There are other infections out there too, beyond the MRSA bacterial infection, Tony. This is way more common than you think. And so as you figure out that this is not something that was isolated to me, I don't want to say it makes me feel better, but it makes me feel more vigilant that this is something we got to figure something. We got to do something about this. We have to do something about this.
Well, not only that, though, bro, that's why you coming on and sharing is very important. Okay. Is because at the end of the day, I didn't know nothing. I mean, buddy, just think, I don't have no clue about any of this. And the majority of people don't. And like you said, all of a sudden, you just, one day you don't feel well. And next thing you know, number one, my man, I'm so glad you're here. Words can't, state, in terms of how I feel about what you went through. Okay.
I appreciate that,
no, seriously, bro. I mean, just to hear all the things that, and like that, right? Like that. like
like
that.
that.
It just is so quick, and next thing you know, your life is upside down. So tell us a little bit. When did they finally say they had it under control?
So it took probably 7 days to get it under control, to the point to where they said, "Listen, we feel like you're in a good spot. Um, we're going to go ahead and close up," because they left. This is the crazy part. They left the wound open. My body was exposed until they knew if I was cured or not. They didn't close me. So I had two surgeries. So the first surgery was to cut my foot off, and then the second surgery was to close the wound because they needed to see the infection leave. So crazily as it sounds, my right leg was exposed, bone showing, everything showing for a certain period of time until the infection was gone. And every day they would come in, they would draw a smaller circle, smaller circle, smaller circle, until the point to where they said, "Hey, your white T cell count is back to normal." I think my white T cell count was at 30 when it should be at 9. And when they started to see that the antibiotics was curing me, then, every day the prognosis got better, got better, got better, got better, to the point to where they said, "Okay, we're going to close it." And then from there, they scheduled me to go home.
So so number one, what antibiotics? So they were just testing different type of antibiotics until they found one that worked. Did they know exactly what the diagnosis in terms of the infection, what it was and then what antibiotic was the one that brought you back to recovery? Did they tell you any of that?
Yeah, and I don't remember, it's written down somewhere, but I had two different bacterial
Got it.
infections. So the first 24 hours, I was on the wrong antibiotics. After the CDC came in and figured out what the second bacteria was, and they changed it. And then I started to see positive results from whatever they were getting. I was on an antibiotic, dude, 24 hours a day. I mean, like every 5 hours, they just come in with a bag.
But did the antibiotics, you said you was on the wrong antibiotic, did they cause or did they help expand the infection?
No.
Or it was just, this was the wrong antibiotic and the infection just took off, continued to take off because there was no resistance against it. Got it.
Correct. Until the CDC identified the second bacteria, they didn't know how to treat it. So once they identified the second bacteria, then they gave me whatever they needed to give me to fight that second bacteria. Then I started to see improvement.
Let me ask you this, and I hate to, because your story, but I got to go to this because you say CDC, okay? And the majority of people, us in our daily walk, we see CDC in the news, and especially now from a political standpoint, right? How important was the CDC? I think I heard it already, but how important was the CDC in saving your life?
Listen, let me tell you something. If it wasn't for them, I don't know if I would be here. Tony, if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I would be here. Now, I don't understand how the CDC works at the high level, right? We all hear about it. We all know what they come in and they do, and they approve this and they talk about that. But for somebody to literally walk into my room and say, "I am from the CDC at the local level, and here's what we're going to do for you, bro." They need to get all the funding they need to get from me. From my perspective, they need to make sure that they're fully funded, because if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. Tony, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. It's just weird that it happened to me. I've been very fortunate in my life to not have a lot of death, not have experienced a lot of sickness or illness. And bro, for me, I mean, to be in the position that I was in, where I'm traveling, I got the media thing going, and for everybody to find out that I was in a hospital, bro, it was devastating. And it impacted so many people, bro. And I mean, like, people was calling me crying, and they would come see me when I got at the hospital. We're sitting on my couch and we're just boo-hooing, because it's like, bro, you my Superman. If it can happen to you, what chance do I have? And I'm like, bro, so I got to figure out, what do I do with this? And so I want to have an impact. I want to help people because I'm gonna tell you, when I came home, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't drive. I hate to say this, but my first 2 days at home, I fell. Just trying to figure out crutches, and I ended up falling and I split the stitches open to the wound that they closed. I had to go in an ambulance back to the ER the second day that I fell. And so, you know, I needed, like an extender to my arm, one of those things you pick up the trash, you see the dudes, something where, you want to reach for it or you drop something on the floor. Here I am feeling like, okay, well, I still should be able to do whatever I was doing. That is not the case. When I tell you literally nothing is the same, nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. Okay? Nothing. I'm talking about how I brush my teeth to how I get a bowl of soup.
Buddy.
Nothing is the same. And so,
So,
I just was very, very blessed to have 4 kids, family, the lady I'm dating. I mean, I'm just very blessed to have the support around me to help me through my situation.
well, look, you're blessed, right? So that's the key, okay? That you're blessed, okay?
Right.
Highly blessed and favored of the Lord, right? So that's the key, okay? Bro. That's just the bottom line, right? Now,
Right.
All that being said, doesn't mean that, the journey, the next chapter is going to be, you have to learn a lot of stuff. What is it? I think it's over 2 million people in the U.S. live without limb loss, right? I'm going to play this quick little clip and I want to get your thoughts and talk a little bit about that. You just said, I got home, I fell and, I had to do this and anything from brushing my teeth to eating a bowl of soup is totally different. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Sure.
Did you know that over 2 million people in the U.S. live with limb loss or limb difference? And every year, more than 185,000 amputations occur. Many don't realize the challenges amputees face: insurance struggles, prosthetic costs, mental health impacts, the need for adaptive resources. It's really expensive to be disabled.
Speak to that a little bit, my brother.
Bro, she is 100% accurate. If you're an above the knee amputee, your prosthetic could cost up to $70,000. If you're below the knee, it's going to be somewhere $20,000, $30,000. The life altering, life after amputation. I always talk about life before amputation and now life after amputation, right? So, it's devastating, bro. Like, I couldn't leave. I couldn't go anywhere for a while because one, you're in pain. Let's talk about the phantom pain first.
The phantom pain. Talk about number one, tell everybody what is phantom pain, okay? And then how you experienced it.
So phantom pain is your brain still communicating with your foot that's not there, okay? And so the brain still processes that the foot is there, even though the foot is not there. So people who have amputations experience what they call phantom pain, where you feel pain in the limb that is no longer there. And it is excruciating. It feels like you are being electrocuted because it comes out of nowhere. It may last from 1 minute to 2 hours. And it just feels like you're being electrocuted. I equate it to that guy in the movie. They got him tied to the chair. They want to know where the girl is and the money. And every time he won't tell them, they turn the knob. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll tell you.
What was that flick? Was it a Marathon Man? I think it was Marathon Man. One man was like, "Is it safe?" And he's talking about, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Is it safe?" He's like, "Wait, no, next turn knob."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, bro. I mean, listen, the pain is real. I'm joking about it, but bro, when I tell you the pain is probably some of the worst pain that I feel. And I still feel it every night, So when I'm out and around, people always ask me, they say, they ask me 3 questions, Tony. They say, what happened? The next question is, how are you? And then the third question is, what can I do for you? Right? So we already know what happened. And the second answer to that is I always tell them it just depends on what time it is, because if God let me wake up in the morning, I'm very happy. My job, codem allows me to have a distraction from 9 to 5 or however long that is. But around 8, 9 o'clock, as soon as I'm at my most peaceful is when the phantom pain starts. It's like as soon as I don't have anything to think about or worry about is when the pain comes, and it's there pretty much through the night, bro. So I spend 3, 4 o'clock in the morning at the edge of my bed trying to survive phantom pain, and there is no pill, there is no drug.
I was going to ask, so they can't give you any
Yeah, you can take things, bro, but I'm not taking freaking Oxycontin, and you're not putting me on some bullshit.
Got it. Because then you get addicted on something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And so it is something you have to tough out. And, it's a part of my daily regimen is phantom pain. It's a friend of mine at this point. I used to cry at a 5. Now at 5, I barely complain because I'm so used to being in pain that I'm kind of used to it, bro. And so, but the 8 to 9 still are excruciating, but what am I supposed to do? It's just you bear through it and you bite down and you hold on to the side of your body that's throbbing or in shock at the time, and you just wait for it to pass, and then you just go on to the next day. So phantom pain, unfortunately, is now a part of my life where it used to be, it didn't be there, but now it is there.
My brother, when we started this conversation today, I asked, why did you want to come on BEP to share this story? And you kind of spoke to it. I wasn't going to say anything, but you and I had been chatting, and, I wanted to see if you wanted to come on and share. And I remember you saying, Tony, I don't want to do that. Right. And I understood why. Right. Because I was saying, hey, you can help a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is that you're still going through things. And you said something not too long ago. You said, I was in the process of saying, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was the turning point when you stopped really grieving about why me? I had this, I was doing this, and then all of a sudden I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with phantom pain, I got to learn how to walk, all these things that you got to do. And to the point where you said, hey, I want to start adapting, and I'm going to come on and share with others.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. My body healed faster than my mind did. Within 3 weeks, they took out the stitches. Within 5 weeks, they were telling me, hey, you're looking really good. But mentally, I still was coming to grips with my new reality because my daughter came home from school. She would just periodically come home to just kind of take over because they were taking turns kind of watching me. Nobody wanted me to be by myself, right? So we had an opportunity to go to a code-in movie. We do movie premieres and everything, and I hadn't left the house yet. And so where I was living at the time, there was like 4 steps to get down to the car. And so it was my first time trying to get down the steps. And man, when I tell you, we scratched and clawed our way down these 4 steps to the point to where I almost fell. My 20-year-old daughter had to catch me. And, when we finally got into the car, man, and I sat down in the passenger seat, I just cried like a baby, and she hugged me. And we were sitting there, just boo-hooing together, bro. And it's like, there has to be a purpose behind this, Tony. Like, I'm going through something I've never gone through. And there are people out here who don't have the support that I have, who don't have the daughters and the sons and the brothers and lady and the cousins and the fraternity brothers and the business partner. And, dude, my circle came through, bro. My circle came through. I went and got a house that everything is on one floor. And when I moved into it, I had 10 people help me move. I didn't have to do anything. Now I've learned how to drive with my left foot so I can drive my truck again and everything. But I had 10 people, family, fraternity, friends, everybody came and was like, bro, you are not to lift a finger. You just tell us where, what you want, how you want it, and we got you. So I'm like, okay, if I'm getting this kind of support, what about the people who aren't getting support, who don't have the circle? I joined about 3 Facebook groups on Facebook, amputee groups, and there are people in there going, hey, I'm by myself, and the doctors tell me they want to cut my leg off, and I don't know what to do. What do I do? Hey, I'm at home and I'm by myself, and I'm like, even though my situation was grave, bro, I'm still blessed. But what about the people who don't have the support systems, who can't, they got to go to the doctor on their own. They got to go to the doctor on their own. I still have people who are like, oh, I'm going with you. No, I don't need to go. I can drive. I can drive. I got the scooter. I got the, and then I have fraternity brothers, man. They brought me crutches, wheelchair. Here's a wheelchair. My cousin came over. He brought the knee scooter. He gave me an iWalk. An iWalk is this contraption where you strap it to your knee and you literally can walk with the iWalk. It's very difficult. But he brought here. People just here's food. Here's, I'm about to Google you some money for this. I'm about to DoorDash you. And you do this. I mean, bro, people literally came to my aid. Fraternity brothers brought water and toiletries and groceries. And you know what I'm saying, bro? I mean,
Buddy,
there are people out there
listen,
who don't have that.
there's an old saying, right? In good times, your friends know you. In bad times, you know your friends. And that epitomizes what you're talking about here, right? Because that's when you see who's in your life, you see the people that are there thick and thin, and they show up. Let me ask you this. And I want to position it this way, and this is not just for you, it's for all of us. Prior to this happening, we walk out of our houses and we do our daily stuff, and we don't see the disabled world.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see the things that people who have disabilities see. Mm-hmm. That's not there for them until we actually go through, right? So 26% of U.S. adults as disabled. But fewer than 40% of public spaces fully comply with ADA accessibility standards, right? Airports, restaurants, even hospitals are frequent offenders for accessibility gaps.
Yep.
So talk a little bit now, because like I said, we all do this. And now talk about what you see now, because you kind of spoke about groups that you join, and you spoke about hearing people say, I don't have support and I don't have this. Talk a little bit now about when you do go out and the things that you see that's not set up when people become disabled.
So Tony, I'm so glad that you brought this up, because this is probably one of the harshest of the realities that I've had to experience becoming an amputee. And so, there is a process by which you go from wheelchair to walker to crutches to prosthetic, right? So there is a process, an evolution that you experience as you kind of get back to some level of normality. But I will tell you that the world is not as handicap accessible as you think. As a matter of fact, I mean, there are very few places that you can go as a handicapped person that are as accessible as you need them to be. But let me tell you, I'm 6'4". I play football. I'm a black man. I've spent my 54 years pretty much walking into rooms and being feared. You know what I mean? That's just the way the world we live in. They're scared of black brothers. When I walk into a room and get into the elevator,
big dudes.
Yeah. So I've gone from being feared to being, how can I put this, bro? I've gone from being a man of stature to now people take pity on you when you're in a wheelchair. And that probably was one of the hardest mental things that I've had to accept, is wheeling myself into a restaurant and having people look down on me. And they don't know they're doing it, okay? But my advice to anybody is, if you communicate with somebody in a wheelchair, don't stand over and look down on them. Go on one knee and go down and look at them face to face. It is one of the most humiliating things I've ever been through, which is to go around and navigate the world in a wheelchair. Now, I know that most of it was on me. I know most of it was me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I didn't battle some mental difficulties of being, all of a sudden I'm in a wheelchair when I'm so used to just going where I want, doing what I want, when I want, you know, big bad truck, people get out the way when I'm coming down the freeway. So that's my life, bro. But now my life is, can I get the door for you? Do you want me to hand you that? Do you need this? Okay, I can move out the way. Man, I went to the movies in a wheelchair. I couldn't even get my own damn slushie, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm at the movie
I
counter,
mean,
and I'm looking up at the dude. Let me get two to see, Tron Ares. And I'm looking up at the guy, and the counter is so high, I couldn't see past the juju beans. You know what I mean? And then when he gave me the cup, he gives me the cup. I go wheel over to the thing, and I can't navigate. So everybody's like, "I got you, bro. I got you." And this, bro, it's horrible, man. So
right.
I want to be able to impact people that way. I am much better mentally, man. I'm no longer in a wheelchair. I'm in a knee scooter. The prosthetic is coming soon. That's a whole nother process, bro. Just getting a prosthetic and learning how to function with a prosthetic, because it's very expensive. The insurance has to be right? And we all know how expensive life is right now with inflation. And let me tell you something, bro. To get caught out here not properly set up to be able to recover from an amputation has to be one of the scariest things you can go through. Because if you're not set up right financially to be able to handle this, it's devastating.
So when you say set up financially the right way, like, what do you mean?
If you don't have insurance, if you're underinsured, if your insurance company fights with you, if you don't go to the right hospital, if you don't choose the right prosthetists, if people make mistakes with your diagnosis, if you get underprescribed, there could be complications with it, right? So there are so many, my world as an amputee hasn't even begun yet, because I'm still in a recovery phase. It takes 6 months for the inside of your body to heal. I might be healed on the outside, but it still takes 6 months for the inside of your body to heal. So, I'm still walking around with what they call a stump protector to protect my body in the event that I fall, that I'm protecting my stump just to get to prosthetic. So, I mean, there's a whole nother world out there. And if you're not properly or prepared for that, because, I mean, who's prepared for an amputation? Who's thinking about that, right? It can be grueling. And Tony, there's no guarantee that your prosthetic is even going to work, because your body responds differently to things. Trauma, what you eat. Some people go to work with a prosthetic on and they can't come home with it, because if they ate salt, it changes the composition of the inflammation in your body and the prosthetic won't fit. You can develop calluses and sores. The crazy thing is, and let me tell you something else, man. Do not Google your situation, okay? Because Google will be like, hey, as an amputee, life expectancy is 5 to 3 years.
No, bro, you can't do that.
Do not Google your shit, man, because hey, I was Google.
No.
I'm not, because I'm not asleep.
You figure you're trying to learn.
No,
you figure you're trying to learn, right? And next thing you know, you're reading stuff. Yeah.
Hey, amputee, you get one leg cut off, you're 20 times more likely to get the other leg cut off if you're in that. I'm like, shit. I mean, so I'm sitting here reading. I mean, do not Google your situation. Just don't Google your situation. Just stay away from Google. Because you think you're sad now, man. You read Google, you think it's over. So, I mean, not, of course, right. I'm making light of the situation, but I'm just telling you, man, I'm still dealing with very real consequences of what I'm going through. And this is with complete support. This is with my ability to work from home because I own my company, have the proper support systems. Family came through, friends came through, everybody came through. But what if you don't have those support systems? What if you're not set up financially for it? What if you're not set up insurance-wise for it? My first prosthetic that we're testing they're calling it the Chevrolet prosthetic, but I'm trying to golf. And my doctor is like, hey, man, if you want to golf again, you're going to need the Cadillac prosthetic. That's with the hydraulic foot and the sensors and, the waterproof leg and all of this. And that's going to be your second
The
leg. And
$6
I'm like,
million
okay, well,
leg, the
yeah, yeah.
bionic leg, right? Remember Steve
Yeah.
Austin?
I'm like, well, doc, what's that going to cost? That's it's only 30 grand. Okay. So I guess I'm going to start cracking people in the head for money because, but I'm joking, but
Of course you are, bro.
If you can't find the funds for this stuff, you're going to get that, the pirate leg, because it's expensive. Tony, it's expensive.
Here's the thing, buddy. Look, I preparing for this, and again, I didn't know, right? But preparing to chat with you, and I was doing my homework. I couldn't believe it. It's insane, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, bro. The one thing, though, and again, you're demonstrating that today. You're still going through a lot. You're still learning a lot. You're still proud. You just said your body is still healing.
Yeah.
All these things, right? And you're looking to continue to move forward. And one of the things that you want to do is create a nonprofit for amputees, right? For the first 90 days. So talk a little bit, and before we close, talk a little bit about your nonprofit and what is it going to be about, and how can listeners and people support your mission? Let's dive into that.
So basically what I'd like to do is I want to create a starter pack for people. So right after amputation, there are certain things that you need. You can no longer grocery shop. So we want to find a way to give people either an Amazon card where they can order food, because you can order groceries on Amazon through Whole Foods, or you could just have products come to your home. We want to give people some type of Uber card where they can just call Uber to start going to their doctor's appointments. Because, when I got out the hospital, I immediately had 5-6 doctor's appointments, because just because you come home doesn't mean you're out the woods. I still was taking antibiotics at home. I still was taking certain drugs to make sure that I responded well to being cut open. There's still with things that you needed, dressing changes. There are certain things that when you have an amputation that you have to cover the wound, and you have to make sure the stitches are healing and things like that. Also, there's apparatuses that you need. I needed a shower chair. I needed, things to transfer my body from one point to another. That people aren't prepared for. And if you're not set up financially for these things, you go without, and it's a struggle. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to set up some type of nonprofit. So if this happens to somebody, as soon as they come out, whether they're an above the knee, below the knee, we've identified what their needs are, and we set them up with what we call a starter pack to get them through the first 90 days, which is the most critical, right? This is where your mind is at flux. This is where your body is at flux. This is where you need as much support as possible. Now, after that 90 days, you start to kind of figure out what your new normal is, and your mind calms down, your body starts to respond, you can start to get strength back. Because, Tony, I went into the hospital at 270. I'm 6'4", so don't think 270 I was overweight, but I was 270 in the hospital when I went in. I came out at 244. So I'm still continuing to kind of lose weight, and my new reality is I'm not what I used to be physically. Because I haven't worked out. I can't work out. I can't walk like I used to. I can't jog. I can't do things yet until I figure out, what my new normal is. And so we want to help people with their first 90 days get as much support as possible, so then they can begin, as they feel comfortable, entering into their new life. And so, I don't know what that's going to look like yet. But, you can reach me through brad.bowling@codem.com, codemediagroup.llc.com. And, or just look me up. I'm not hard to find.
No. Say the email address again, my brother. We'll put it up on the screen, but say the email address again.
brad.bowling@codemediagroup.llc.com. We've already secured the name for the nonprofit. I can't say it yet because we're still working on setting everything up. But we really want to create an opportunity for people who are recent amputees to get the kind of support that they need. And support means a little bit of money, some resources, some mental support, psychiatric support if they need it, somebody to talk to, somebody to I don't make decisions by myself, man. I sat down with my kids, parents, brother,
Right.
family. We made decisions together, right? But if you don't have that kind of support system, you're going to need that from people who understand what you're going through, right? Somebody who's
Right.
seen around the corner. So we want to be able to set that up because Tony, like the video said, 185,000 people annually go through amputation loss. Every 30 seconds, somebody's getting something amputated. That's just in the United States. It's worse around the world. That's just
Correct.
in the US.
Correct.
This is a $6
Correct.
billion industry. It is a $6 billion industry. And so what God is telling me to do is, Brad, your new mission is to become a champion and an advocate of people who are suffering through it, to get through it, to figure out what your new normal is. And so, bro, I'm going to take this on and we're going to see what we can do with it.
Well, number one, bro, you've already started doing stuff with it because you've the courage, the resilience, the strength, the love, the empathy that you have demonstrated, not just on today's show, but just throughout this journey, and the willingness to take, what happened to you and share with others and hopefully to make a difference in their life is fantastic, bro. And see, here's the thing. I just want to let you know is that I love you a lot. And, there's an old saying, adversity reveals character, right? And when we go through things that are not expected, it shows who we really are on the inside. And I can tell you this, for all the people that's listening and watching, they now can see who Brad Boland truly is. Because again, your friends know you in good times, but in bad times, your friends, and you're willing to show up and help other individuals that you don't even know, but knowing that they're going to go through a lot and you want to help support them, my brother. That's, and you're using this as a mission, as a purpose. And I commend you. I love you a lot. And so the question I have for you is, how can a black, buddy, flat out, how can a Black Executive Perspective podcast help you, my brother?
Man, this is the beginning of it. I have a book that I'm going to write called The Very Next Day. Because, when you are an amputee, your life changes the very next day. And so the book will detail, kind of the journey of the shocking experience of losing a limb, and then the slow recovery process to kind of finding your new normal. And I know it will be different for everybody, but, we're going to go around the country and kind of talk about it and help people kind of identify. And I think sometimes I know what's helped me is, the YouTube videos and the support groups and kind of hearing other people kind of go through it. It helped me identify that I wasn't alone. Because a lot of nights, man, I felt like I was by myself, bro. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and I'm grabbing my leg that's not there, my foot that's not there. And I'm going, why me, God? Like, what did I do? What am I supposed to do with this, man? I've gone from being totally independent to totally dependent. Tony, do you know how hard it is to go from totally independent to being now? Can I have a glass of water? Can you heat the pizza up for me? I watched this video. The young white girl, she became an amputee, and she said, "Listen, you need to get used to falling. The more you fall, the better you'll feel." And I was like, "That's weird." So I get a ton of Amazon boxes now, man. So I had ordered these cookies on Amazon, bro, right? And it was on the front porch. So I take my butt outside, which I shouldn't have did, but I go through the front door. There's the front door is one level. Outside the front door is another level. And I took the knee scooter out there and I attempted to reach down and grab these cookies. And so everything fell, man. The scooter fell. I had to do a ninja roll to not land on my stump and roll over and fall. And I'm literally cracking up outside because I didn't die. I didn't bleed. Nothing happened. And, you know, it was one of the best feelings in the world was to fall, Tony. And once that happened, I said, okay, I think I found my purpose, bro. It is to teach people to fall and fall as often as possible. Because that's where
And
life
get
is.
back up.
And get back
And
up.
get
Bro.
back up. And get back up.
And eat the cookie.
Right? That's good. And you still ate the cookie. Cookie was good. Right? Cookie was still good. Right?
Yeah.
But bro, that's it though, man. And for you, but see, here's the thing. You figured that out on your own.
I did.
Okay.
I did. But with the help of somebody online though.
No. But my point is, there's a lot of people can see stuff online and still be like, woe is me. Okay. Right. You decided. See, that's the difference, my brother. That's the difference. You decided, as she decided, and as all these other individuals who decided to move forward. That was a decision that they decided, right? So that's my point here. You decided to say, I'm going to turn this into something. Final question. When do you think your nonprofit is going to kick off?
So the goal is to kick it off the beginning of 2026. We're going through paperwork right now.
Okay.
Trying to identify, you know, how we want to structure it, get the website up, build it, things like that. And so the goal is to have it up the first quarter of 2026. If you don't mind, I would love to come back on and launch it and see if we can't have a fundraising session where people can say, hey, man, I'll buy 5 starter packs. I'll buy 3 starter packs.
Flat out.
Yeah. And
flat out. That's
and
automatic.
What we want to do is we want to then give people access to the website. So if you've gone through an amputation, we're easy to find. So we want to communicate that the site is out there. So if you're going through something, and again, I need to partner with Amazon. I want to partner with Uber. I want to partner with some, you know, amputee company or whatever, you know, shower chair company to say, hey, listen, we'll give you these at a discount if you're helping. We want to help. So we first need to put some of that stuff together to reduce the cost overall. So that's kind of what we're working on. But that's the goal.
Okay, buddy. Well, I'm going to do one better, right? So I'm gonna challenge everyone right now who's watching and listening to a Black Executive Perspective podcast, who just heard your story and heard what your mission is. If you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if this is something that you want to partner with, or you want to be a part of, or you want to help, or you want to provide any type of donation or facilities or equipment, all these things, I ask that you reach out to a Black Executive Perspective podcast, or as we'll put up my brother Brad Boland's information, and let's get the ball rolling. Let's don't wait to January. Let's bring, as we talked about earlier, I'll say it again, in good times, your friends know you. In bad times, we know our friends, right? And so we're asking right now for those individuals who've heard this, who's inspired by it, who wants to be part of the solution, who wants to help all our fellow citizens and other human beings and brothers and sisters who are dealing with this, be able to get the resources and the help that they need. So let's not wait until that time frame. Let's start getting the ball rolling and helping Brad Boland. So Brad Boland, president of Code M Magazine, I want to thank you, my brother, for the courage of you coming on and sharing your powerful story, but more importantly, the determination, the love, and the newfound purpose that you have to help others.
I appreciate you, Tony. I know I want to say thank you to you for your patience and letting me get to the point to where I was ready to kind of do this. And I appreciate you, bro. I couldn't think of a better place to kind of have this conversation. I trust you. You know, you've shown me nothing but care and love and support, bro. And I look forward to seeing you at our Man of the Year event here in December, where you're going to broadcast live from that event. So I encourage people to come out, meet Tony, sit down with Tony. And man, I appreciate you, man. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Love it, my brother. Love it. I can't wait to see you as well. Okay. And then we're going to continue to partner and be there for one another. That's so right. Brad Boland, president of Code M Magazine, thanks for appearing on a Black Executive Perspective podcast.
All right. Have a good day.
So now I think it's time for
Tony's Tidbit.
And the tidbit today. Sometimes losing something physical gives birth to something spiritual, a deeper purpose you never knew was waiting. Every setback becomes an invitation to rediscover the strength buried within you. And true leadership begins when you use that strength to turn your personal storm into someone else's shelter. And you heard a lot of that from my brother, president of Code M Magazine, Brad Boland. So again, we want you to remember to check out Need to Know by Dr. Nasinga Burton here on the Black Executive Perspective podcast. Dr. Burton dives into the timely and crucial topics to shape our community and world, things that you don't have time to figure out. You want to follow and listen to her every week to gain insight and deeper your understanding on the issues that matter. Don't miss it every Thursday here on the Black Executive Perspective podcast. And don't forget to miss the upcoming roundtable of Pull Up, Speak Up, where bold, unfiltered voices tackle today's most provocative issues, sharp perspectives, real talk, our call to action. Tune in and join the revolution every other week on the Black Executive Perspective podcast, Pull Up, Speak Up. And listen, we're live every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, BEP Live, myself and Chris P. Reed. We talk about what's going on today, so definitely tune in on YouTube here on the Black Executive Perspective to BEP Live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So again, if you've been a loyal follower to BEP, you know our call to action. If this is your first time listening or watching, our goal is to eliminate all forms of discrimination. We're asking everyone to incorporate our call to action called LESS, LESS. The L stands for learn. We want everyone to educate themselves on racial and cultural nuances, as well as, disabled things. Because at the end of the day, when you enlighten yourself, this way you become more educated. Then after you learn, you have the letter E, which stands for empathy. Now, since you've learned, now you can understand what our brothers and sisters go through because you can put yourself in their shoes. The first S stands for share. Share your insights. Don't, as my boy Chris P. Reed says, don't hide it, divide it. Since you become enlightened, share it to your friends and family so they can become enlightened as well. And then the final S stands for stop. You want to stop discrimination as it walks in your path. So it's as simple as Aunt Jenny or Uncle Joe saying something that's inappropriate at the Sunday dinner table. Instead of sitting there giggling or being shocked that they said it, you say, Uncle Joe, Aunt Jenny, we don't believe that. We don't say that. And you stop it right there. So if everyone can incorporate less, LESS, we'll build a more fair, more understanding world, and we'll all see the change that we want to see, because less will become more. Don't forget to check out a Black Executive Perspective podcast on all of our social channels. Go to our website, sign up for our newsletter, stay informed. You can follow us on our social handles of TikTok, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at a Black Exec. For our fabulous guests, president of Code M Magazine, Brad B. Boland, I'm Tony Tidbit. We talked about it. We learned about it. Brad is going to keep striving and thriving about it. We love you. And guess what? We're out.
A Black Executive Perspective.